Hey guys, I'm Chris Turnbull. Today I'm going to be talking about what independent service-based businesses can be doing to appear in LLMs and AI search like ChatGPT and Gemini. So the first thing I want to talk about is digital PR and something called citation bait. Now, in the past, to rank on Google, you've always needed strong backlinks, high authority backlinks to actually appear on Google search, and that's something that has built up your domain authority over time. Now with LLMs, it's a little bit different. So the way they work is they're looking at the entire web. So they're looking at platforms like Reddit, social media platforms, forums, blogs, as well as traditional Google search and maps listings as well. So the whole point is, if you're a local company and somebody's typing in what is the best local practice or clinic or showroom around me, then what it's going to do is search all across the web to find out as much information about who is the best person, and then it's going to list that person in their search results. So the best way to kind of take advantage of this is actually to be looking at digital PR. So you're getting out there on these platforms, on local news websites, and you're getting mentioned everywhere. So rather than just building that strong backlink, which has got high domain authority, that's going to improve your authority score within Google. Sure, it's great if you rank at the top of Google, you're likely going to get mentioned by the LLM. But if you're also listed in Reddit, for example, and somebody's made a post and said, oh, so-and-so is the best showroom, then that's going to really help. If you've got an article on the local news website, that's going to really help. So all of these things are being taken into consideration a lot more than they are or were by Google. So that is definitely something that I think every company should be getting on and looking into right now. So the second point that I want to mention is that traditional SEO still works really well. Obviously, if you don't have good SEO fundamentals, LLMs aren't going to pick you up. Well, first off, a lot of LLMs, as we're kind of seeing, especially like Gemini, is really leaning into what Google finds authoritative anyway. So if you rank highly on Google, chances are you're going to rank really well on LLMs anyway. And what's working for Google is the same traditional SEO. Make sure your on page is correct, your keyword research, your hashtags, your technical SEO, all of those things. I think when it comes to local service businesses, there are a few other things a bit more important than nationwide ones. So NAPs, so your name, address and phone, make sure they're consistent across your Bing listing, your Google My Business, any citations that you've got, any websites that you're being listed. This is a really small thing that people don't pay attention to, but if you've changed your name recently, or you've got a new phone number, a new email, new website domain, unfortunately, you're going to have to go back through all of those listings and make sure you update that, because Google's going to be looking at it. So are LLMs, like we just mentioned, they're looking everywhere. If you've got office listed in Hove, for example, and you've recently moved to Worthing, then Google's going to want to see that, LLM's going to want to see that. They're going to want to know across every single website or directory that you're listed on that has happened, just so it's consistent. The more consistent you are with a small thing like that, the better you're going to rank locally. So my third point is LLM.txt. So very similar to robot.txt file. If you don't know about this, it's essentially a file on your website which is going to have all the information about you and your company that you want LLMs to know. Now, this is a bit of a new thing. I haven't seen a ton of evidence to say that LLMs are going straight to this file or page on your website, reading everything about you. People have suggested that, they are picking this up and it's a good way to get all that condensed information about you, but it's not 100% proved yet. So I would say it's worth doing. It doesn't take very long and it could be beneficial in the long run. So the fourth thing I wanted to talk about is content. And this is where I think a lot of independent retailers aren't getting it right. So obviously you've got top, middle, bottom of funnel when it comes to content. Now, a lot of people focus on the middle of funnel keywords. Quite broad, but still quite high intent. Kitchen showroom near me, dental practice near me, local practitioner here, whatever it might be. All of those sort of near me companies, your core services, fitted bathrooms, just the name of your service and the location, whatever it might be. They might seem like bottom of the funnel, but I think when it comes to LLMs, the bottom of the funnel is much longer keywords. So focus on high intent phrases that your customers are asking you, and target and optimize around that. So for example, if you're a kitchen showroom, rather than just typing in kitchen designs or kitchen designs Brighton, whatever it might be, focus on small kitchen design for Victorian era kitchens. It's quite specific, but if you've got content around that and your competitor doesn't, or a nationwide competitor doesn't, then if somebody searches that into ChatGPT or Gemini, you are going to show for that because other people don't have content that specific. And that's what I mean by that bottom of the funnel. Go really long tail and create content around it that's going to be really useful. And obviously with all content strategies, knowing your customer is going to be massively beneficial. So you don't have to just think anymore along those middle of the funnel keywords that it's going to be talking about quite broad things that everyone's going to be targeting. You need to know specifically what your customer is asking, what are the conversations that you have with them, and talk about that. And it always has been about this. A book came out a few years ago called TAYA, or They Ask, You Answer. Very similar thing. AEO is Answer Engine Optimization. Now this is all about the top of funnel side of things. But again, it really just comes down to knowing your customer and thinking, if you're having a conversation with your customer, what are they going to be asking you? What are you going to be telling them in response? Because the way that people are using LLMs at the moment, especially at the top of the funnel, it's very research based. People might go to Gemini and start talking about, let's take a skin clinic practice or something. They might start talking about, okay, what's this service? What does this do? What are the side effects? And how much does this cost? And how long is the healing process? And so on and so on. They ask all these questions, do all their research, and it's very much like a conversation, and you need to address your content strategy in that way. So you need to be thinking about all these answers, understanding what they might ask next, anticipate that and answer it straight away. If you have a very detailed article or blog on your website or an FAQ section that anticipates these customer questions and then feeds it back to them, feeds them an answer, LLMs are just going to stick to using that and reference that as often as possible. And then obviously they may ask within ChatGPT or something, they might ask, okay, who is the best showroom or who is the best practice, whatever it might be. And then you're more likely to get suggested as well. But even if they go to Google and start looking around at competition, the fact that you've got that content on your website, that's going to really help for traditional Google search as well. And my final point is schema markup. So AI agents thrive on this. It's something I mentioned before. A lot of local service businesses don't get correct. I would suggest, if you don't know much about it, to go away, do a bit of research into it, or speak to somebody that can actually implement this for you. But if it's not something you've heard of, then definitely do some research around it, because it can be a really quick fix and can have a massive impact. Hopefully this has been a little bit helpful to some of you independent service businesses out there. I think we've just briefly touched on 5 things that I think are quite big at the moment for appearing in LLMs. If I was to say focus on one, I'd say get your content right. And then I'd say go to an agency, go to a marketer, find somebody who can help you implement things like schema markup, fix the traditional SEO issues, maybe add this new LLM text page on there, and obviously look at a campaign to do some digital PR. All of those things can be really, really helpful, but content still very much so is something that you can go away and action right now. So start thinking about what your customer is asking you, what you can do to add onto your website in terms of an article, an FAQ, a blog. Even think about social media posts. Instagram is being picked up in Google search now, maybe an email marketing campaign. Content is still going to be one of your most powerful things when it comes to actually connecting with your customer. And once you've got that content there and got that content plan, you can always work with a marketing team or a marketing person to actually say, this is everything that we've got. Let's figure out how we can get it on the website, get it ranking so that our customers can actually find us.